This image has been everywhere this week. Every food account on TikTok, every health group on Facebook, every mum forum in the country. It's a photo of a shelf in Marks and Spencer. And the products on that shelf are doing something that no other major UK supermarket has ever done. They're putting the full ingredient list on the front of the packaging, not hidden on the back, in tiny print. Not buried under marketing claims, right there in bold on the front. 1 ingredient, cornflakes, 3 ingredient burgers, 6 ingredient sausages, 8 ingredient ketchup. People are calling it a revolution. And honestly, compared to what every other supermarket is selling you, it kind of is. But before you rush out and fill your trolley, there's something M&S really doesn't want you to know about this range, because they got caught. Trading Standards got involved, and the investigation is still ongoing. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what's in the M&S only ingredients range, compare it to what Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's and the budget supermarkets are selling you, expose the scandal M&S tried to bury, and answer the question nobody's asking. Can normal families actually afford to eat like this? To understand why M&S launched this range, you need to understand what's been happening in the UK food conversation over the last 2 years. Ultra-processed food, or UPF, has become the biggest health scare in British food since the horse meat scandal. Books have been written about it, documentaries have been made. The phrase ultra-processed has gone from an obscure academic classification to something your nan mentions at Sunday lunch. The NOVA classification system, developed by researchers in Brazil, divides all food into 4 categories. Unprocessed, processed ingredients, processed food, and the problem category, ultra-processed food. Products made from industrial ingredients you wouldn't find in a normal kitchen. Modified starches, hydrogenated oils, emulsifiers, flavor enhancers, protein isolates, and preservatives with names you can't pronounce. Here's the statistic that scared the entire country. Ultra-processed foods make up around 57% of the average British diet, higher than almost any other country in Europe. And studies have linked high UPF consumption to obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers. Whether the processing itself causes the harm, or whether UPFs just tend to be high in sugar, salt, and fat is still debated, but consumers didn't wait for the sides to settle. They panicked, and M&S saw an opportunity. Innovamarket Insights found that about half of consumers surveyed are now actively looking for foods with minimal ingredients and recognizable, natural ingredients. M&S responded by launching the Only Ingredients range. First with cereals and bread in March last year. Then in January this year, they doubled the range with 12 new products, and the whole thing went viral. Let's give credit where it's due, because what M&S has done with this range is genuinely impressive, and it puts every other supermarket in the country to shame. Start with the cornflakes. M&S, only 1 ingredient, cornflakes. The ingredient list is 1 word, corn. That's it! No added sugar, no salt, no malt flavoring, no vitamin fortification, just corn, toasted into flakes. Compare that to Kellogg's cornflakes, which contain maize, sugar, barley malt flavor, salt, iron, niacin, vitamin B6, riboflavin, thiamine, folic acid, and vitamin D. 12 ingredients versus 1. Same product name. Completely different food. Now look at the sausages. M&S, only 6 ingredients. Heritage, gold pork sausages, British pork at 92%, water, sea salt, black pepper, sage, filled into natural pork casings. 6 ingredients. Compare that to a standard supermarket pork sausage. Pick up any own brand sausage in Tesco, Asda, or Sainsbury's, and you'll find something like this. Pork, water, wheat flour, rusk, salt, dextrose, stabilizer, preservative sodium metabisulfite, antioxidant sodium ascorbate, flavorings, spice extracts, herb extracts, color, paprika extracts, and a casing made from who knows what. 20 plus ingredients versus 6, same product, same supermarket aisle. The beef burgers are even more striking. M&S, only 3 ingredients. British beef burgers, beef, salt, black pepper. 3 ingredients. A standard supermarket burger, beef, water, soya protein, dried onion, salt, dextrose, wheat flour, yeast extract, stabilizer, onion powder, garlic powder, white pepper, and various flavorings. It's not even close. Then there's the ketchup. Only 8 ingredients. Tomato puree, water, vinegar, agave syrup, salt, paprika, white pepper, and cloves. A standard ketchup from any other supermarket contains tomato puree, spirit vinegar, sugar, glucose, fructose syrup, modified corn flour, salt, onion powder, spice extracts, and potassium sorbate as a preservative. M&S sweetened theirs with agave instead of glucose, fructose syrup. They used real ground spices instead of spice extracts. They left out the modified starch and the preservatives entirely. The mayonnaise, only 6 ingredients. Olive oil, egg yolk, white wine vinegar, water, sea salt, and dried mustard. That's it. That's what every recipe book says mayonnaise is. But commercial mayo from other supermarkets? Rapeseed oil, water, pasteurized egg, spirit vinegar, sugar, modified maize starch, salt, mustard flour, potassium sorbate, calcium disodium, EDTA, flavoring, and sometimes paprika extract for color. They've turned a 5-ingredient condiment into a 15-ingredient industrial product, and the baked beans, only 7 ingredients versus the standard 8 to 12. The gap is smaller here, but M&S stripped out the modified starch and the spice extracts. The packaging itself is the real innovation. Every product in the range displays the complete ingredient list on the front of the pack in large, readable text. Not on the back, not in tiny font, on the front. This is the first time a major UK supermarket has done this. And the reason it went viral is because it makes you realise how deliberately every other product in the supermarket is designed to hide this information from you. Quick question. Go to your kitchen right now, pick up the nearest bottle of ketchup and count the ingredients. Drop the number in the comments. I guarantee most of you will be shocked. And if you're finding this useful, hit subscribe, because we're building the biggest investigation into UK supermarket food on YouTube. Next week, we're tearing apart bread. You won't believe what we found. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because for all the good M&S is doing with this range, they've also been caught making claims that don't add up, and the people who call them are still not satisfied. The Real Bread Campaign, a group that lobbies for honest labelling in bread products, filed complaints with trading standards about M&S's only ingredients range. Their allegation? The number of ingredients claimed on the front of the packaging did not match the number of ingredients listed in the legal declaration on the back. Let's start with the bread rolls. M&S sold only 5 ingredients. White rolls. 5 ingredients right there on the front of the pack, but the Real Bread Campaign counted the ingredients listed on the back. 11. 15 if you include the legally mandated fortification additives in the flour. The front said 5. The back said 11. That's not a rounding error, that's a discrepancy the trading standards had to investigate. Then there was the sunflower seed and spelt loaf. The front of the packet claimed 6 ingredients. The legal declaration on the back listed 13. 6 versus 13. And M&S was selling this as a transparency product. The whole marketing message was that you could trust the number on the front. And the number on the front was wrong. How did M&S justify this? They used a technique called compound ingredient grouping. They counted multi-flour, which is a blend of several different flours, as a single ingredient on the front. They counted sourdough culture as one ingredient on the front, even though it contains multiple components. And they counted fortified flour, which legally must contain added calcium, iron, and B vitamins, as just flour on the front. Is that technically legal? Possibly. M&S said their packaging was legally compliant. But is it honest? Is it transparent? The whole point of this range is that you can trust the number on the front. And if the number on the front doesn't match the number on the back, what exactly are you trusting? It gets worse. M&S also sold a dark chocolate and coconut date bar as only 5 ingredients. 5 ingredients on the front! But dark chocolate is itself a compound ingredient made from cocoa mass, sugar, cocoa butter, an emulsifier called lecithin, and natural vanilla flavoring. Count those and the bar actually contains 9 or 10 declared ingredients. 5 on the front, 9 on the back. The Real Bread Campaign also discovered that M&S was marketing a bag of flour as being made from an ancient variety of wheat, but the flour was actually made from a modern variety of rye. It wasn't wheat at all. It wasn't ancient. Both claims on the packaging were factually incorrect, and here's the detail that surprised me most. The Real Bread Campaign alleges that nothing in M&S's in-store bakery section is actually baked from scratch in the store. All products are manufactured elsewhere, sometimes outside the UK entirely, and merely reheated in store. The campaign calls them loaf tanning salons. M&S's products say baked in store today. The campaign says they should say reheated in store today. Trading standards in the London Borough of Tower Hamlets confirmed in September last year that M&S was reviewing and amending some of their packaging as a result of these complaints. But as of January this year, the Real Bread Campaign says the numerical mismatch on the original rolls and loaves still hasn't been corrected. The investigation is ongoing. Now, to be fair, the newer products launched in January 2026 do appear to have the numbers matching between front and back. The sausages, the burgers, the ketchup, the mayo. M&S seems to have learned from the criticism. But the older products that started this whole range are still on shelves with the same disputed labelling, and nobody has been held accountable for the discrepancy. There's a bigger question here that goes beyond M&S, and it's this: who can actually afford to eat like this? Let's talk about prices! The M&S, only 6 ingredients. Olive oil mayonnaise costs £4.50 for a 250 gram jar. A standard jar of Hellmann's from Tesco costs about £2.70 for 400 grams. That's more than triple the price per gram. The M&S, only 8 ingredients. Tomato ketchup costs £3 for a 300 gram bottle. Heinz ketchup from Tesco costs about £2.20 for 460 grams. Again, significantly more expensive for significantly less product. The sausages cost £4 for 6. You could buy 12 Richmond sausages from most supermarkets for about £2.50. The beef burgers are £3.75 for 4. Iceland sells 8 burgers for £2. The cornflakes, the one ingredient ones, £2.75 for a 325 gram box. Kellogg's cornflakes from Asda cost about £2.60 for 500 grams. Almost everything in the Only Ingredients range costs substantially more than the standard alternative, and that's before we talk about shelf life. The Only Ingredients sausages have a shelf life of about 3 days from purchase. Standard sausages with preservatives last 8 days. The packaging says, not suitable for freezing, and once opened, use immediately. For a family that does a weekly shop, that's a problem. You have to cook them within days of buying them or they go in the bin, and food waste is its own form of expense. But here's the real class angle, and this one genuinely bothers me. The Only One Ingredient cornflakes contain no added vitamins or minerals. Fine! Standard cornflakes are fortified with iron, B vitamins, folic acid, and vitamin D. These are nutrients that a significant portion of the UK population, particularly children in lower income families, gets primarily from fortified breakfast cereals. A government nutrition survey found that 96% of the UK population doesn't meet the daily fibre recommendation. Many families, particularly those on tight budgets, rely on fortified cereals for key nutrients that are difficult to obtain from diet alone. So M&S has created a cereal that's cleaner, simpler, and more transparent, but it's also less nutritious. And it costs more. The families who most need the nutrients that fortified cereals provide are the same families who can't afford the M&S premium. The clean label movement is real and it matters. But when it becomes a luxury product, it risks becoming another way that healthy eating is gatekept behind a price tag. To be clear, this isn't M&S's fault alone. They're offering a choice. They still sell standard products alongside the Only range. The problem is systemic. Every other supermarket could be doing this. They could be making sausages with 6 ingredients instead of 20. They could be making ketchup without modified starch and preservatives. The technology exists. The recipes exist. M&S has proven it's possible. The reason they don't is because additives, fillers, and preservatives are cheaper. And the families who can least afford the alternative are the ones eating the most processed versions. Let's put this all together with a direct comparison across 4 everyday products. The numbers speak for themselves. Ketchup, M&S, 8 ingredients with real spices and agave. Standard supermarket ketchup, 10 to 12 ingredients with glucose, fructose syrup, modified starch, and spice extracts. Sausages. This is where it gets dramatic. M&S, 6 ingredients, 92% pork. Standard Tesco own brand, 20 plus ingredients, pork around 40 to 50%. Richmond, one of the UK's best-selling brands, historically as low as 42% pork, with a long list of fillers. 6 ingredients versus 20 isn't a marginal difference. It's a completely different product. Cornflakes, M&S, 1 ingredient. Kellogg's, 12, but with the fortification trade-off we already discussed. And baked beans. M&S, 7 ingredients. Standard, 8 to 12, the smallest gap in the range because beans are already relatively simple. The pattern is clear. For processed meat, the gap between M&S and everyone else is enormous. For condiments, it's meaningful. For cereals, M&S wins on simplicity but loses on nutrition. And across the board, M&S costs more. Here's the bottom line. M&S has done something genuinely important with this range. They've proven that it's possible to make everyday supermarket products with dramatically fewer ingredients. 6 ingredient sausages, 3 ingredient burgers, 1 ingredient cornflakes. These aren't artisan products from a farmer's market. They're mass-produced items sitting on a supermarket shelf. If M&S can do it, so can Tesco, so can Asda, so can Sainsbury's. So can Aldi and Lidl. They're choosing not to, and that choice is costing your health. But M&S isn't innocent either. They got caught fudging the ingredient counts on the very products that were supposed to be about transparency. They're charging a premium that puts clean eating out of reach for most families, and by removing fortification from their cereals, they've created a product that's simpler but not necessarily healthier. The real villain in this story isn't M&S. It's the system that allows 20 ingredient sausages and 12 ingredient cornflakes to be the default. A system where the cheapest food is always the most processed, and the people who can least afford the alternative are the ones eating the most of it. Next week, we're looking at bread. And honestly, after what we found about what supermarkets are doing to your daily loaf, I don't think I'll ever look at a sandwich the same way. If you want to see it, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you there.